I'm now going to give you a quick overview of the Tempus LS, which is the defibrillator module for the Tempus Pro. Depending on which area of deployed hospital care you are working in, you might find that you've got the Tempus LS, or you might find that you've got a different piece of defibrillator equipment. It's important to note that the Tempus LS connects to the Tempus Pro via Bluetooth, so it's really vital that we ensure that they are connected before we start using this, because it makes sure that we've got transmission of patient data. Obviously, in an emergency situation, you would defibrillate the patient regardless of whether you knew that it was connected or not. So when you press the power on button, it's going to fire up straight away and give you the option to assess the patient's rhythm. So it's going to prompt you in the same way that it would any other defibrillator you would use. It's going to tell you that you need to check your pads or check your defibrillator electrodes. The functions of the Tempus Pro, so we can defibrillate in auto, AED mode or manual mode. We can also pace patients and we can also perform cardioversions on this bit of kit. So when you fire up the Tempus LS defibrillator, obviously it turns on really quickly and straight away you've got your CPR timer there, which gives you the option to accurately track the resuscitation of your patient. You can see here that along the bottom it's automatically defaulted to 150 joules of energy. You can adjust that by using the up and down arrows here, and once selected you can see there that that's the energy that's going to be delivered. In the same way as any other defibrillator works, once a shockable rhythm has been identified, you're going to use this button here to charge the defibrillator. As the Tempus LS is charging, there's 4 LED lights around the charge button that will illuminate in a clockwise direction to demonstrate that the defibrillator is charging. And once it's ready to shock, it will alarm and give you an audible and a visual indicator that the defibrillator is ready to deliver the shock. So looking at some of the other indicators on the screen here, it's telling us that we're in an adult mode of defibrillation. We're also in manual mode. But if you look down the buttons on the right hand side, you can see that I have the option here to start AED. It will also look at the patient's heart rate once you've got pads attached. This defibrillator will also cardiovert and accurately pace the patient. So if you click that button there, it will start the pacer function of the defibrillator. So you can see this icon here on the screen currently indicates 0. So that tells you how many shocks have been delivered during this period of resuscitation. And again, along with the CPR timer, it gives you an accurate real-time picture of what's been happening with your patient and how many shocks have been delivered. So if we want to have a look at the different functions within the Tempus LS, we might need to explore the menu option. And it's important to note that the Tempus LS, unlike the Tempus Pro, is not a touch screen, and we need to use the membrane buttons down the right hand side and along the bottom of the device. So we're going to select the menu options, and it's going to give us all of these different things that we can change and use within the Tempus LS. We can use a metronome function that's going to give us an accurate pace of CPR, and we can also adjust the ratio of the metronome to 30:2 in accordance with ALS guidelines, or continuous once a secure airway is in place. We can look at our ECG settings, adjust the volume and display brightness. We can carry out self-tests, clear messages, or utilise a monitor function which gives us a 3-lead ECG. To select which of the options you want to change, we're going to use the membrane buttons here that tells you up, down and set. So I'm going to scroll down to display brightness, and I want to change that to a high. So I'm going to press the set button until it's high, and then I'm happy that that's been changed. If I wanted to change the metronome ratio to continuous, I'm going to use the set button to select continuous and then move on. If I wanted to use the monitor function, I'm going to select monitor, and you'll see there that it brings up the option of a 3-lead ECG. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to click exit monitor, and it's going to take me back to the main defibrillator homepage. So in order to connect your Tempus LS to the Tempus Pro, initially you need to use a patient data cable which connects the two devices together, and after that you should be able to connect one device to the other using a Bluetooth connection. So when you switch on the Tempus LS, it's automatically going to put itself into the manual mode of defibrillation. But if you needed to use it as an AED, you're going to click this button here on the right hand side, and it's going to give you the same audible prompts as any other AED device would.
Plug and apply electrodes.
Once your electrodes are applied, it will carry out its rhythm analysis.
Plug and apply electrodes.
And you can carry on in the AED mode of defibrillation.
Plug and apply electrodes.
So if we take a look down the side of the Tempus LS, you can see we've got all these different connectors here. You've got your ECG, your 3-lead ECG, a USB port, a data connector port, your 12-volt mains power supply, and your pads connector. On the underside of the Tempus Pro, you've got your battery pack. So you just lift the rubber flap there, and you can remove the battery using the two blue levers there. Once the battery is in, if you press and hold that button, it flashes up your 4 LEDs to give you an indicator of how charged the battery pack is. The battery pack on the Tempus LS will carry out 300 shocks or give you 10 hours of functional monitoring. So this is the wall bracket mount for the Tempus Pro, and there are 3 connection points that go into the Tempus Pro itself. It's important to start on this side, and you can lift this red lever and lock that up in place, which pulls that 3rd port away. So you're going to slot it in at a slight angle, lock that end one in place, and then push it down into that connector, and then lock the red lever down. So to remove the Tempus Pro from the bracket, you're going to lift that red lever, which is the locking device, pull it out on the left-hand side, and then slide it out from that 1st port. So in this video, we've taken you through the Tempus Pro, the Tempus LS, and shown you how to use the wall bracket mount for the kit. It's really important to note that this is still a relatively new piece of kit within defence, and there are other capabilities and consumables that can be added on, including laryngoscopes and ultrasound capabilities, and a slave screen, which gives you a more portable way of looking at the patient's vital signs from the Tempus Pro itself. Depending on the type of deployed hospital care that you're attached to, might mean that you see different varieties of the composition of this kit, whether it's just a Tempus Pro, the Tempus LS, or other consumables and capabilities. So hopefully that video has given you a brief overview of how to use the Tempus Pro and the Tempus LS. Whether it's the first time you've had your hands on this bit of kit, or whether you're a seasoned critical care nurse with lots of experience with the Tempus Pro. Hopefully this has given you the tools and the information to be able to go out and use this kit on operations and prepare you for the DICE course.